You're watching Picks on Politics with Dan Mannarino.
And welcome back to Picks on Politics, everybody. And as I sat down with Governor Hochul earlier this week, news came out about potential new charges against Mayor Eric Adams. And I did ask the governor about that. But first, we discussed crime in New York and how bail reform impacts those numbers. Here's more. And I want to talk about bail reform. You mentioned a little bit about the repeat offenders, right? And I've heard you talk about this in bail reform and holding up the legislative process in years past, and there were tweaks made. But recently you said that there was a bit of a judge problem, that it was working upstate but not downstate here in New York City. So what is handicapping the judges here?
Nothing.
So what do you attribute some of these repeat offenders back on the street to?
Their own decision making. They're elected or they're appointed, and they have a different philosophy on how to apply the law. That's one of the problems.
So what can you do?
Well, I've changed the law, and they weren't tweaks. These are hard-fought changes to laws that were put in place, again, under my predecessor in 2019 in the legislature. Went too far. I had to pull it back. And again, I will tell you, there's a lot of opposition. I held up our budget 2 straight years in a row to make sure I could protect the public, the state of New York. And now you can look at all kinds of factors. Before, you could only look at what's the least restrictive means to hold them in order to make sure they can return to court. That was it. We didn't cover hate crimes. I had to put those back. Some gun-involved cases, we didn't. That I had to put that back. So we've changed it so they can look at all these factors that basically equate to, is this person dangerous?
Yeah.
That's what you can look at. Was there a gun? Is there an order of protection? Is there a repeat offender? That was not the law until I forced those changes through. And judges upstate are using those tests and holding more people and protecting the community from people who would do them harm. There's just a different philosophy in some of the, I'm not saying all judges, but the comparison is rather stark.
Okay, so no changes to the law in this.
It doesn't need the change because we have the changes that we needed to have, and it's being applied differently upstate. That's the telling point, whether or not the law is working.
A few more topics before affordability, and one of them is in kind of in hand with the crime, and it's about the migrant crisis and the concerns now about the upcoming Trump administration and a mass deportation of some of the migrants. The mayor has seemingly been on board, meeting with Tom Homan about this. Are you in favor of mass deportations, and are you at odds with the mayor over that issue?
I think if you look at what the mayor has said, it is aligned with what I'm talking about, which is removing people who are criminals. A lot of people with records in their home country slipped into our country. I want them returned. But our system here in the state of New York that I'll defend is that if someone commits a crime, they're undocumented, they're one of the most recent migrants, or people who come a long time ago, let them have their day in court. Let them, if there's a crime that's proven and prosecuted, convicted, I want you to spend time in jail because you might be back the next day. Now, I'm willing to look at that. But right now, they have to go through our criminal justice system. They really do. So that is the focus. It's not about breaking apart families.
Right.
I'm not trying to separate. We have people who've been here for decades and decades. They're paying taxes. They're working in our factories and our farms and our businesses, and they have small businesses. Their kids are in school here. I'm not destroying families here in the state of New York. I will defend them. But for criminal element,
okay. Speaking of Mayor Adams, and we've talked about him a lot throughout this interview, he has his own cloud of controversy. You described it as chaotic and that you had to step in to help stabilize the city. And just before we sat down for this interview, the FBI today said that they have additional criminal conduct and they're going to be releasing additional charges against the mayor. First, let me get your reaction to that, the additional criminal conduct by Mayor Eric Adams.
I don't have any insight into what that looks like.
So do you see a scenario then with more charges coming? Do you see a scenario where you could enact your ability to remove him?
I have said before, my job is to maintain stability in the city of New York. I represent the people of New York just like the mayor does. It's my job to stabilize this community, restore confidence, let people know that we're working on their public safety. I don't know what those charges are, but I've also said I'm not at all inclined to undo the will of the people and overturn an election. That's not what I'm prepared to do.
So has the mayor met the moment then, right? He, in this year, will be facing additional charges. He'll have a court case. He'll be running for re-election and leading the city all at the same time. You have confidence he could do all of that? It's
not my question of whether he met the moment. It's whether or not I believe I have the constitutional right or that I have the ability, legally I do, to overturn an election. but I don't think the people of this state or this city think it's appropriate to overturn elections.
So you have confidence in him?
I have confidence that we can continue working to reduce crime, to work on work on housing. The City of Yes initiative, which the state supported with $1 billion to bring what we both understand is so important, is more affordable housing to the city, and working on the quality of life issues, closing up illegal cannabis shops, restoring safety for our pedestrians. So there's a lot on the agenda. My job is to work with the mayor of New York. Full stop.
There is a lot on the agenda, and when we come back, the final part of my interview with the governor and talks about money coming directly to New Yorkers and when they can expect that.